Hi y'all, this is Larry at Deep South, Texas. It's about the 22nd of May and it's time for a garden update. So it's been real hot for the last couple of weeks, getting into the mid-90s every day and 80 degrees by the time the sun comes out in the morning. So the garden is suffering. Let's take a look. The sweet corn is done for the year. We've had about a half a dozen meals. It's very good. The candy corn was particularly good. Now I did mention it looked like they were getting about 2 ears on every stalk, but basically the second ear really never matured very much. So what's left here will be going to the chickens, and then the stalks and the leaves we'll put in the compost. My neighbor's lawn people decided to put Roundup along the fence row to kill off the grass. But basically they did in all my San Marzano tomatoes as well. There's one left. It's producing a few tomatoes, but not really much of anything. In fact, most of the tomatoes aren't doing very well. Even my red Siberians aren't producing much this year. Not a good year for tomatoes. It was too cold early on and turned too hot too fast. The celery is looking good. In fact, I think we're ready to start harvesting celery as we need it now. So there's plenty of celery here. The one tomato that's doing really well for me this year are the beefsteaks. So we've picked a dozen or so already this year. There's a lot more coming on, and hope to get a nice harvest of beefsteak tomatoes. We also have a bunch of Roma tomatoes coming on. They're not quite as nice as the Romas we had last year, but there's a bunch of them. We'll be picking those soon. So the island in the kitchen is starting to fill up with tomatoes again, but it certainly is not going to fill up like last year. But plenty of tomatoes to eat, and maybe a few canner loads this year as well. The eggplant's loving it though. I can't eat enough of them. The sweet potatoes I planted 2 weeks ago are doing great. I thought they would really suffer because they were somewhat larger than the slips I planted the year before. But they've taken off. They haven't suffered in the heat at all. We've harvested a couple meals of green beans from the Blue Lake pole beans. They're doing well. We'll see how long they last into the summer heat. They get shade pretty early in the afternoon, so hopefully we'll get more production from them. And the rattlesnake beans are doing well too. We picked just a few beans today of the rattlesnakes, but they're full of flowers, and expecting great things out of these in the heat. And the cucumbers that I have in these 2 pots over here, they're doing well. They're starting to climb the trellis, though I haven't noticed any cucumbers yet. I'll be planting watermelon in this bed, and one over in this bed as well. We have ginger coming up in this bed that I received from Deep South Homestead, and some chives in there. They're looking good. My ginger is all up as well. It's doing real well, as is the turmeric. The poblano peppers are growing okay. I'm starting to see some flower buds show up, but no peppers yet. And the pepperoncinis are also covered with flower buds, and there are a few peppers on there now. The bed where we harvested the onions from has been replanted with peanuts, and they're not up yet. And we also put in one row of okra, and they are starting to pop up as well. And this is the Star of David okra that I received the seeds from Deep South Homestead. The Moringa is off to kind of a slow start this year, but this one on the end has 2 large seed pods that are looking pretty good. I think this plant's putting everything into making seeds. Probably thinks it's going to die. I gave the pineapple some fertilizer, and it seemed like it perked up pretty good, so it's looking a lot better this time. The leeks are looking fantastic. In fact, I want to pull one up and see what they look like. They got planted a lot deeper this year than last year. But that looks pretty good. I'm not ready to start harvesting them yet, but I was real curious on how they were doing. I think it looks good. And Cherokee tan pumpkins continue to take over the garden. They're taking over all these tomato cages. In fact, one pumpkin has decided to grow inside of a tomato cage. There's a couple more I'll show you here right now. So here's another pumpkin growing over in the corner of the garden. And I think there's one back there. And there's another one there. So all in all, I count about 6 of them, but I'm sure there's more in there that I can't see. And they're also, the plants are making their escape into the other side of the garden. So I haven't seen any over there yet, but I'm sure that we'll find some over there. Well, I think the onions are pretty much dry. Time to get them cleaned up and see what we have. Well, the onions have been cleaned up, so let's get them weighed. And that bowl weighs 13.85 pounds. And that bowl is 6.3 pounds. I need to empty this one out. And put these in. And that weighs 3.55 pounds. Okay, let's empty these out. So now let's weigh the empty bowls. And they weigh 1.08 pounds. So after removing the weight of the 2 bowls and then weighing this white one again and removing it again, we ended up with 22 pounds of onions this year. So that's pretty good, but nothing like last year. Last year we had almost 60 pounds. So we're going to try again for a better harvest next year. Well, the heat of the summer is here, and the garden is showing it. Usually by the end of May, the tomatoes are done, and that looks like that's going to be that way this year as well. Still have a lot of tomatoes to harvest, but I'm pretty sure that we're not pollinating tomatoes anymore due to the heat. The rattlesnake pole beans look like they're coming into their own. The Cherokee tan pumpkins, they're looking excellent, and the sweet potatoes are loving it. We have okra coming up, that's good, peanuts shortly. So we're into our summer crops. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that thumbs up. We'll see you again next time.